On the agenda, I would like to invite Thomas Chan, who's the chair of the Chinese Takeaway Association. Thomas, over to you.
First of all, I just want to take all of you back to what happened in Britain. Not 10 years ago, but perhaps 40, 50 years ago. A lot of Chinese came over from Hong Kong and they started to engage in the catering sector. Successive government encouraged more Chinese from Hong Kong and elsewhere to come over, but only on condition they remained in the catering sector. And that's the stupidity of the immigration policies, not just one government, but successive government. And coming back to the Chinese community, we are so enterprising. So for the last 14, 15 years, people have started up restaurants and takeaways in different parts of the country. If you traveled up and down the country, you would realize that in even the smallest of towns, you will find one, if not two, takeaways. And of course, all these big, medium, and small enterprises have helped, as been pointed out already, with the British economy in generating a lot of incomes as well as taxations and employment. Now, what happened now, if we look at 2010, if not for the last 10 years, we have to rely on migrant workforce in the catering sector for the simple reasons that the second and the third or even the fourth generations would not go into jobs in the catering sector from the Chinese community. All our children around this table and in this room would have degrees, if not PhDs. Would they like to be trained to work in the kitchen? You must be joking. Now, do we need chefs of different and varying degrees? Of course we do. The stupidity of the point-based system, which the Labour government have introduced over the last couple of years, again, failed to address that in order to improve the economic situation of Britain, we need people with skills at all levels, not just those who can make hundreds and millions of pounds for themselves in the financial, in the IT, or in other industries, or in medicines. But we need people to feed the worker as well, isn't it? You have heard from Gary that restaurants or even takeaways are being closed down. What will happen then? Now, I just want to share with all of you what happens before we have the extension of the EU. The hospitality industry in 2004 persuaded the then government to introduce something called a sector-based scheme. And as a result, we have people who work in hotels, in our pubs, came over from Poland and other Eastern European countries because of the lobbying by the then hospitality industry. Were the Chinese community, the catering industry involved? No. We were never consulted. At the moment, the sector-based schemes for hospitality is finished. But there is, if you look at on the website, there's still sector-based scheme for the lowest of the low. Picking of fruits in Suffolk. People can still come over from Eastern European countries to do that sort of jobs. Now again, why current government and hopefully new government after the January election considered allowing the Chinese catering sector this opportunity to continue with the running of very legal, orderly business. I think that is a point I would like to emphasize. Of course, all the takeaways and restaurants, as I've just said, have contributed significantly to the British economy. And we would like to see that more people would take part in the activities we are organizing on the 3rd of May. And I would encourage that if people who run takeaways and restaurants, and if you are taking part on that day, which is a bank holiday, why not take your photographs and send it to our email address, which I think you will publicize later. And so we can get photo evidence from across the country that there are people out there supporting us. And including, of course, the Indian restaurants, which are run by Bangladeshis. So I think we need to consider the situation of these irregular workers. After all, they've been here for 5, 10, and last night I met up with someone who's been here for 14, 15 years. Now the problem for them is not just not able to work, they're shadow citizens, etc. But it has an impact on the children as well. I share with you one story of a child who's actually born here but have no status because of the parents. And guess what's most upsetting for this child? When everyone in the class can go away to France or other countries or Spain for a holiday, a school trip, he cannot or she cannot because of the lack of status. So can you imagine that impact on children born of people who have not got documentations? It will, I think, scar someone for life as a result of that. And that is why we need to do something about it. UK needs migrant workers at all levels, including the ones whom border agencies, and in this case I can say China would never want them back anyway. So it's a reality, and let's not hide behind these facts. And we must accept that they are here, they will continue to be here, and they cannot be sent back for various reasons, and we need to acknowledge their presence in some way. Thank you.